Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Laurent Aubertin. I'm a general practitioner and a sonographer. I work at the University Hospital in Angers, France. I'm very grateful to be allowed to talk to you today about a question I asked myself several years ago when I started to use ultrasound in my daily clinical practice. So let me start with a situation. Imagine you are a medical student. You are in a general practice internship. The GP you are with uses ultrasound. You understand the benefit of it, but you're not allowed to touch the probe. And that's where our story begins. Ultrasound is no longer exotic, it's fast, it's portable, and it's increasingly used in primary care. Many students, during their internship, they are watching a tool without being trained to think with it. In many French medical schools, training still comes very late and only for very few of them. So I asked myself, why is ultrasound still treated as an obscure technology reserved for a small elite? So we chose to study what ultrasound does in practice as seen by the students, not how to teach them the technique. We didn't ask experts what students should learn. We asked students what they actually experienced toward the use of ultrasound during their general practice internship and what it does to their learning. So we conduct a small qualitative study. We interview 14 medical students from 4 to 6 years in 7 different medical schools across France. All of them had been exposed to the use of ultrasound during a general practice internship with real settings, real clinical settings, real patient, and real clinical decision to make. The first contact with ultrasound was almost always the same: curiosity, fascination, but also a little bit of fear. Why fear, you might ask? Students, they don't say ultrasound is too difficult for them. They say we are very bad at anatomy. They clearly identify anatomy as a barrier, but they also say that practicing ultrasound could actually help them learn anatomy better. Ultrasound suddenly makes anatomy visible, alive, understandable, and most of all, it makes it strongly integrated into the live clinical scene. One student described ultrasound like this: ultrasound is like the clinical examination, but from the inside. The students described a way of thinking. For the students, ultrasound became a tool to structure clinical reasoning. When students were allowed to take the probe and to scan the patient, something changed for them. They asked more questions, they took initiative, and they felt legitimate. For those students, ultrasound shortened the gap between undergraduate training and medical practice. Of course, we expected some technical benefits, but what struck us the most was the fact that students immediately identified ultrasound as a way to work on the doctor-patient relationship. Ultrasound became a tool to reassure, to explain, to build trust with one another. And one student also suggests that ultrasound could be a tool to respect a person's intimacy. Students are really realistic. They clearly identify barriers: time, training, supervision, but they don't see those barriers as excuses. They use them as starting points to propose assets for better learning. Students are not asking to become sonographer. They are asking to become confident and efficient clinicians. They want to be exposed to ultrasound earlier, simpler, with a strong supervision, and most of all, they want this exposition integrated into the clinical reasoning. Ultrasound is not the future. It's already there in general practice. Students, they seem ready and mature enough. The only thing missing for me is our move. Thank you for your attention.